All right, so this is going to be the last video for today, and this video goes out to my home country, the USA. First of all, before I even start, I'm not these type of people from America who think that we're the best. You know, we are superior and everybody needs to speak English. I'm not like that. And if you know from watching these videos, you probably already know that. But if you're new, I just want to address that so people in the comment section are not going to criticize me and then say that you're this and that, okay? Because people are probably going to say things like that. So, when it comes to teaching English abroad, you can, if you are even from Serbia, non-native English speaking countries, you'll still get a job in China if you're qualified, if it's for you, if it's your purpose, you know, you're destined to do it. Definitely can get jobs in China at schools. Now, for teaching English online, it's a whole different ballgame. Voice is everything. Presentation is everything. Those are the two most important things. Your voice and presentation. So first, the Chinese market is, first, China itself and the USA are like the two strongest economies in the world. So China's very smart and they're very wise. Some people will say they are the sleeping giant. Who knows? What I'll say is that they're very wise in a way. If they're going to understand their biggest competitor, they've got to learn the language. Wouldn't that be crazy if America started to learn Chinese and how much they would understand about their market and the way their culture exists? That's the kind of level they're on. But like America's interest and culture is definitely not going to be coming home every day like religiously learning Chinese like the Chinese are learning English, because that's what's going on. They're learning English so that, of course, they can empower themselves, but so they can understand us and they can communicate with us. This is why most Chinese parents are not interested in having classes with someone from like Ireland. And there's nothing against Irish people. I want to go to Ireland. I like the Irish accent. And I'm sure there's some people who can neutralize their Irish accent in order for it to be understandable. You have to understand. The people from the USA, you definitely have so much advantage, so much opportunity over the entire market. Of course, Canada too. Like North America, you guys have the biggest advantage. I would say the next in line, of course, the UK. There's, for what I know, I don't want to say always, but most likely right now there's still a high demand with parents who want their child to study in London or just study in England and not America. Now, if you look at the official standings, there's Joshua's out there. He's from the UK. He's holding it down. And look, I'm just this is not so much of what I want. It would be cool if there would be like 4 South African teachers, 4 American teachers, 4 Canadians, and 2 New Zealanders, and whatever, you know? It'd be so cool to have that big ratio. But it's not like that. There's things in place with the Chinese culture that they want, and they're going to get it, and they demand it. So that's why these things are set up on Palfish. Look at VIP Kids. They don't, it's only people from North America. At least Palfish opened up the door for Australians, New Zealand, people from New Zealand, I don't know if it's New Zealanders, and from the UK, which is a huge market, those 3 countries. So you have to understand these kids are learning English and they're Chinese. So they already are going to be mostly shy. Some of them are going to be shy to speak, have issues. They can read great. I remember I go to one page sometimes and I'm asking them, I say, just to try to catch them off guard, I go to the next page and I say, hey, how old are you? And he just starts reading the page and I'm like, how old are you? And he still doesn't understand, and he's just reading the page. He's not even acknowledging that I'm speaking to him, number one, because their teachers at school, not all of them, but they're mostly native Chinese speakers, and they've been taught 10, maybe 15 years ago, and 10 or 15 years ago, China didn't have that much exposure to English, so not always, but most likely, their teacher might have some pronunciation issues going on. So then if they're at school getting pronunciation issues, they're developing it in the wrong way. Then they go home on a 25-minute lesson. They learn from a teacher whose accent is not standard American English. I'm not saying that's a problem. But then they're learning, and look, I don't know what kind of teaching everybody does out there. I just know the way that I teach, and there's certain students out there who've had so many lessons, and I'm like, I'm not here to ask who, I don't care who their teacher was. I don't want to know, because I don't want to have that image and stuff like that. I'm not here to criticize other teachers. But when we've had a kid that's got like 15 lessons and they still can't answer some basic questions, like you got to report that to Palfish. We got to communicate that to Palfish so the parents understand like what's going on with their kid. Because sometimes I get some kids and they got like British, American, like Chinglish. And when you got that at 7 or 8 years old, you got a serious issue in your hands, because I'm telling you, the 3, 5, and 6-year-olds, that's when they're going to develop their accent. Yes, some students can work really hard and backtrack and correct instead of saying the park, and some people may not say, oh, it's not a big deal, but it is. If I'm learning Chinese and someone is not making sure that I'm articulating the syllable, then when I go visit China and I say it improperly, they're going to know. And I don't want that. And I would want the same for my kid. So I know I got a message from a parent this morning, and they said that they're so happy that you're patient and you make sure that they do complete sentences every time. And it drives me crazy. I almost lose my mind. I have to have so much patience every time I teach. But I do it, and I attract the people that want to be with me. So please do yourself and do the kids a favor. And if you're whatever country you're from, make sure they get a good accent and not some mumbo jumbo stuff. And I mean that not because of who you are as teachers, but from the student. Sometimes it's mumbo jumbo. It's like 3 accents in one. And when that kid hits 12, they're going to be pretty much rock solid in the way they speak English. It's just the way it is. So we've got to set these kids up the right way. So while that was a huge side note, but to everyone who's watching that video, I really hope that I was able to break through on that. So Americans from the Americans, I'm going to get criticized for that, whatever. You have to remember, like I said, the Chinese think it's America, and they're not really exposed to a lot of things. Their internet is controlled. All the social media from the West is basically blocked. Baidu, which I have here on my phone, when you type in stuff like even just like vegan food, it doesn't give you really anything. Like, they don't have the information that we have access to. So I know some things might come off a bit shocking or a bit uncomfortable or irritating about the Chinese culture, but you have to understand what they've been exposed to and what they haven't been exposed to. It's all about perspective, and the more you're with them, the more you realize that, and you just have to accept it. And yeah, I also have to look at your own culture. There's also good, the bad, and ugly with that too, I could sit here and criticize what my government's doing all day, but I'm not going to do that. So it's pretty amazing. And this goes to everybody out there. If you're meant to be a teacher at a school, if you're meant to be an English teacher abroad, if you're meant to be teaching English online, it'll happen. And if it's not, it's not. Give it your best shot. And if you really love it, you'll be pulled in the right direction that you need to go. But you got to trust yourself. You got to trust the process. And I put my trust in God. I got faith in God all day, all night, even when I'm sleeping. So to everybody out there, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for checking in with this video. And to all the people in the USA and, of course, all over the world, I appreciate you watching these videos. But the people from the USA have my highest viewership. This is the first time I've done this video for you guys. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm getting about $55 a month. This is great. Let's keep it going. If you guys got any questions, please let me know. And have a great day. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.